Hello students, in today's class we are going to learn about past tense in detail. Definition of past tense. A verb tense expressing action or state in or as if in the past. A verb tense expressive of elapsed time, such as wrote in. On arriving, I wrote a letter. A verb tense expressing action or state in progress or continuance or habitually done or customarily occurring at a past time, such as was writing. I was writing while he dictated. All loved. The sons loved fishing. So the first is simple past tense. Definition of simple past tense. The simple past tense, sometimes called the preterite, is used to talk about a completed action in a time before now. The simple past is the basic form of past tense in English. The time of the action can be in the recent past or the distant past, and action duration is not important. We make the simple past tense with the subject and a verb in the past or the V2 form. So the form is subject plus verb, past or V2 form. Completed actions in the past. This tense is used to talk about completed actions in the past. For example, I played soccer with my friends last Saturday. Karan gave us a present for our wedding anniversary. The verb in the first sentence is play. We make the past form by adding ed to it. When do this for most verbs, but some verbs have special past forms. You see that in the sentence number 2, gave. This is the past tense of the verb give. So the irregular verbs: give, gave, given, build, built, built, come, came, come, eat, ate, eaten. Given is the past participle or V3 form. These type of verbs are called irregular verbs. There are no values of making past forms with them, so you have to memorize the correct forms. You see some examples on the screen, but of course there are many more in English. Alright, here are some more past simple tense sentences. We received the package this morning. My grandfather built this house in 1968. Antonio lived in Malaysia for 5 years. Okay, let's now move on and talk about past continuous tense. Definition of past continuous tense. The past continuous tense is used to describe actions that began in the past and often continued for a short period of time after the action started. This tense describes actions or events that happened at a specific time in the past. These actions are usually no longer happening at the time the sentence is being said or written. The form of past continuous tense is subject plus was or were plus verb ing form. So the first example is, I was having dinner with my family when the doorbell rang. We are going to put this sentence in a timeline. That side of the past is the middle is present, and over on that side is the future. A sentence says, I was having dinner with my family. This shows an unfinished ongoing action in the past. So the past continuous tense, it is unfinished ongoing in the past plus finished action. So here in the first sentence, it shows an unfinished ongoing action. So I was in the middle of having dinner and something happened. The doorbell rang. So I had to put down my spoon and fork, get up from my table and go and see who it was. So the past continuous tense talks about an unfinished ongoing action in the past. And normally we also mention another finished action that interrupted it. We make this tense with a subject plus a verb in ing form. We say was for the subject I, he, she, and it. And for where for the subject you, we, they. If we mention a finished action that interrupted the continuous action, it is in the past simple. So the form is subject plus past tense verb like the doorbell rang. Here are a few more sentences. It was raining when Priya left for work, so she had to take an umbrella with her. Third one, the power went out while the children were studying. Here we mention the continuous action. Second, the children were studying and the single. Finished action first. The power went out. Fourth one, while we were sitting at the bus stop, we saw a car accident. Now let's move on to past perfect tense. The past perfect tense is used to show that something happened before another action in the past. It can also be used to show that something happened before a specific time in the past. The structure is subject plus had plus verb past participle or V3 form. For example, when we got to the theatre, the movie started. There are two past actions in this sentence. Got to the theatre, which means we arrived there, and the movie started. You can see in the timeline that we got to the theatre first, and then right after that the movie started playing. But what happened in this sentence? When we got to the theatre, the movie had started. That means the movie started before we got to the theatre. So the movie started first, then we arrived. This is the past perfect tense. We make it with a subject plus had plus a verb in past participle or V3 form. So the structure is subject plus had plus verb past participle or V3 form. The first past action when there are two or more past actions are there. When we have two actions in the past perfect to clearly show which action happened first. Here's another example. I was sick because I had eaten too much the previous night. Two actions are there. I was sick and I had eaten too much the previous night. Which happened first? I had eaten too much food, then the next day I was sick. Next example. The girl looked very familiar. I had seen her somewhere before. First, I had seen her somewhere before, maybe a few years before. So she looked very familiar. Fourth one, Joel rushed to his boss' office, but she had gone home already. She, meaning the boss, had gone home already. So when Joel rushed to see her, she wasn't there. As you see, the past perfect tense is really easy. Just remember that when we have two actions, we use the past perfect if we want to clearly indicate which happened. First, we do this to avoid confusion in order of events. Some examples of the past perfect tense can be seen in the following sentences. Had met. She had met him before the party. Next one, had left. The plane had left by the time I got to the airport. Third one, had written. I had written the email before they apologized. Alright, let's turn on to our next tense. This is the past perfect continuous tense. This tense is just like the past perfect simple except the first part action in continuous tense. Definition of past perfect continuous tense. Past perfect continuous tense represent an ongoing action that started and continued for some time in the past. To indicate time reference, for and since are used, and it describes when the action started and how long it continued in the past. So the structure for past perfect continuous tense is subject plus had been plus verb ing. For example, I felt really tired because I had been driving all day. So you know that I feel tired at some point in the past, and that was because before that I had been driving that entire day. So that the early past action was a continuous one. We make this tense with the subject plus had been plus a verb in continuous or ing form. Here's another example. She had been waiting for 3 hours when the doctor finally arrived. Remember that the lady was waiting for the doctor when the doctor came, so her wait ended. But before that point, she had been waiting for 3 hours. Here, the past perfect continuous form comes first in the sentence, but that's okay. Some more examples. The ground was wet because it had been raining. It had been raining first, and so the ground was wet. Next one. When he quit his job at the factory, he had been working there for 12 years. So remember that the present perfect continuous tense is used to talk about a continuous action in the past before another finished action. The follow-up work, students complete your book back exercises and submit it. Thank you.